Welcome to Arctic Cooler Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is playoff weekend here at NRG Stadium here in the Arctic studio. Mark Vandermeer and John Harris with you. Away we go. Get your questions in. Texans, Colts, Saturday afternoon, 3:35, ABC 13 in Houston, ESPN, Sports Radio 610, and it is going to be colossal. Huge matchup.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love facing a team 3 times in a year because it's never happened. Now, the last time it did, I did some research on this. The last time it happened for a Houston professional team,
Yes.
a 3-year run in the 90s. The late 80s and into 90. 88, 89, 90, they faced the Browns, the Steelers, and the Bengals in those years.
In the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Because they went to the playoffs
3 times.
7 consecutive years, the Oilers did, and they only won 3 times. 3 playoff wins and 7 consecutive playoff appearances. My goodness. But anyway, for the Texans, this is 5 out of 8. They play the Colts on Saturday. Let's get to your questions. Brian is first. What did the Texans' final injury report look like? Well, it actually looked pretty good under the circumstances. I mean, you can't bring back Will Fuller and Demaryius Thomas and all those guys, but you can maybe see Keke QT. He's questionable, of course, but we think he's going to play. And Buddy Howell's another guy who's questionable, right?
Yeah, the Buddy Howell one to me, because my gut tells me that we will see Keke QT in this one. How much? I don't know. But Cecil Shorts said it best. He said, hey, look, if you have DeAndre Carter and Keke QT out on the field, the itty-bitty committee, which I thought that was pretty good.
Itty-bitty committee.
If you have them out on the field, I think that's a good thing. So you
Can I say itty-bitty committee?
Well,
it feels disrespectful if I say it. If Cecil says it, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
like
think
it,
about
though.
that one.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
But either way, I think QT's going to play. Buddy Howell, to me, I hope Buddy plays.
Special team.
Huge on special teams. He's made a number of plays for this team.
And you don't have Mike Tyson, right?
Right. Mike Tyson put on IR. A.J. Hendy added to the roster. So they made one roster move, but Buddy Howell not being on kickoff team in particular, kickoff coverage, he's been phenomenal.
You're thinking, who are these guys? They play special teams, kickoff coverage, punt coverage. They're very important. You have great field position overall throughout the season for the Texans for defensive drive starts, offensive drive starts, and you want to keep that going, obviously, in the postseason.
Well, it's interesting, too, because the guys that play special teams, I noticed this yesterday at practice. We were out there to watch special teams practice, and I can't remember. I think it was kickoff or punt. I can't remember. But when they got in the huddle, they all started high-fiving each other. Like, they're all part of the same special teams group.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a unit unto itself.
Right.
Really.
They
got
almost
pride.
Yeah, they'll do work with the defense, they'll do work with the offense, but they really are a special teams group.
Something to watch. Okay, Mike's next question: when will we know if QT is going to play? Mikey. So Mikey, he's gotten the Life cereal jokes his whole life. Let's let Mikey try it. Mikey will eat anything. Anyway, Mikey. No, Mikey hates everything. Then he eats the cereal, right? Do you know what I'm talking about, that old commercial?
I know.
All right, thank you.
It's a dated reference, but we all know.
Yeah, but they brought it back or something.
It's a classic.
Anyway, when will we know? Well, we'll know for sure 90 minutes out, right? That's when the
90 minutes out, that was when we'll know for sure. But I got a pretty good feeling. This
or
one I got a
portal
feeling about.
leak or something.
Yeah, I mean, it might come out, but I think we're going to see Keke QT, which is
I mean,
good.
they didn't put him on IR for a reason because they felt that he could come back for the playoffs, and Bill O'Brien sounded optimistic for him. Anyway, Brandon, is T.Y. Hilton going to play?
Yes.
Now, Brandon, he's listed as questionable. Johnny says yes. I say yes because, come on, he's going to play. He's going to find a way to get out there and play. This is the playoffs. You'll duct tape things together. You'll do whatever it takes to get out there.
I mean, T.Y. hasn't been back in the playoffs in 2014 when he sat on a bench against New England in downpour rain and said to Andrew Luck, they've taken me out of the game. They're double teaming me every play. Well, maybe the Texans can learn something from that.
Well, maybe they can. And the footballs will be properly inflated, by the way. Aaron, are you surprised that most media are picking us to lose? That's a great question.
No.
Am I surprised? Look, the Colts, as much as the Texans are a great story coming back from 0-3 to win the division and all they did down the stretch, the 9-game winning streak, the Colts are a great story as well. And people forget this. Andrew Luck, when he left the game, now, he played in 16, okay, and he was banged up in 15. But in 12, 13, 14, he was rising up to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this league. Yep. And I think he's back in that conversation for sure. And maybe a lot of people aren't aware of that, but some of the national media pundits who pay a lot of attention, they are. So with Luck playing so well, the offensive line, and that's the other thing, Johnny, right? The offensive line for the Colts is playing really well. That, along with Darius Leonard and the improving defensive players, I mean, the Colts are a real trendy pick.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I think all four teams in the AFC wildcard round are all good stories. Texas had a 9-game winning streak. The Colts, you had won 9 out of 10. You had the Ravens coming out of nowhere with the Lamar Jackson-led offense. And then you got the Chargers, 12-4.
Yeah.
Best record in the AFC, at least tied. Unfortunately for them, they were tied with the Chiefs, so they've got to play and got to travel in wild card
12
weekend.
wins, you go on the road.
But the Chargers are the four. Might be the best of the four, and nobody's talking about the Chargers. Everybody's talking about the Colts and talking about the Ravens because they're the most recent hot story.
Yeah.
Well, that recent hot story can end on Saturday with a Texans win over the Colts.
Well, and that relates to the next question. Chris, what can the Texans defense do to slow down Andrew Luck? Well, they're going to have to find a way to get pressure. They're going to have to find a way to at least hold up on the back end. Here's my theory. This is one of those games where your coverage has to be just good enough to make Luck look at the second option.
Yes.
If you can do that, maybe the pass rush gets to him. If Luck has enough time to get to his first option, it could be a tough afternoon on that side of the football, right?
Yeah, I think the one thing about Andrew this year, maybe more so than any other year, is he is absolutely in control of Frank Reich's offense. And what I mean by that is there's an if-then statement. If this, then this.
Right.
He's got that down. He is very clear about it. It's like if he sees this, he knows to go here. If he sees that, he knows to go there. He knows exactly what to do with the ball as soon as he takes his first step away from the shotgun or center. He knows exactly what he's doing with it. He knows what he's seeing in the coverage, and he has all the if-then statements taken care of in this offense. Frank Reich has given him a lot of answers. So he's got the offensive line to protect him. He's getting rid of the ball quicker.
So what do you do?
I mean,
you got to get to him. You got to get the pass rush after.
Yeah, the pass rush is one thing. You got to spin the dial. You may have to take some chances that you don't normally take.
I'm fine with
play
it.
Full cover zero and just send more than they've got to block you. But the one thing you absolutely have to do is if you get hands on him, you've got to bring him down.
Oh, if
you
he escapes,
have to bring him down.
Oh boy! And they're saying the same thing about Watson,
Absolutely.
of course. Lucci, is it Lucci?
Billy Lucci.
Oh, it is.
No, I don't know.
It could be. Or Susan Lucci, maybe. From All My Children, right? She finally won an Emmy that was a long time ago. You know that whole story.
Yeah, I know.
Any score prediction? I'm not going to give you a score prediction, but I like to say this about certain games. Sometimes I say, this is a game around 20. 20 seems to be the magic number. Hold them below, you get above. To me, this is more like 30, okay? This is 28-30. I hate to go into a game like that, but the way the Colts play, the way the Texans' pass defense has had some issues against really good passing attacks. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. Look at the Colts themselves. Even Sam Darnold got it going for the New York Jets, yardage-wise, if nothing else. So this is Andrew Luck you're talking about in the postseason. I hate to say, can you hold him below 28? I think that's the question here. Can you score 28? I think you can. So I think it becomes sort of a 28-30 kind of game. Now, maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe the Texans win this thing 20-13, as it turns out. And I think anything's possible in a postseason game, particularly at home, with this defensive talent that you have, Johnny. But I'm thinking it's more of a high-scoring game.
Okay, so the next question is from John.
Right.
Knowing what you just said, feeling like you've got 28 to 30 points.
Right.
And I'm John, by the way. I'm asking the question.
You're asking John.
Does it change the way that you approach it? I.e., if you have early in the game, if you have a fourth down in their territory, do you kick the field goal, or do you say, look, touchdowns have got to be
Is it 4th and 1? Is it 4th and 4? I don't know. I think those things. And I don't even know if Bill O'Brien can answer that today, John, because I think that he's a gut kind of coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to go by his gut. He always talks about, the way the game was being played. He mentions that phrase a lot. So I think that a lot of it's going to depend on how things are unfolding in the moment.
I sort of feel like touchdowns have got to be the play.
Yeah.
Kaimi's been great. Look, I want 3
scorer
points.
in the NFL.
This is the way, and I said this the other day, Mark. I think in the red zone, it's got to be touchdowns. If you get on the other side of the 50, it's got to be points.
Yeah.
So if you get in the red zone, you're 3 for 3 last time, so you got to continue to capitalize. But if you get on the other side of the 50, it's got to be points.
You got to think about how your offense is doing. Because if you have the ball at their 40 to 45 yard line,
right,
on the plus side of the field, are you thinking, go for it. But if you miss it, the Colts have the ball near midfield. So, and I have to have some trust in my defense here. At some point, they're going to find a way to get to them. So you hope that it's sooner rather than later. And, the last game here, they were unable to make that final stop and get the ball back. Efren wants to know, what channel is the game on locally? ABC 13. And on audio, Sports Radio 610 and the Bull 100.3 FM and the Texans app. So you got to listen in because we are going to be bringing the heat tomorrow. It's going to be, these go to 11. We are going to be blowing things out tomorrow. All right, it's going to be fun. As far as like the speakers and everything like that, I'm not making any score prediction there. Daniel, how does Deshaun Watson compare to Andrew Luck? I think they're different, but they have a lot of similarities in their ability to extend plays, and they have some autonomy at the line of scrimmage and things like that. I'll tell you this about Luck, and you know this, but many people don't, maybe. He's a bigger guy than you think. He's not like 6'1", 6'2", which is still a big person.
Yeah, that's what Deshaun is.
He's every bit of 6 foot. Like, I've interviewed him up close a couple of times, and he's tall. I'm 6'2". He's definitely taller, bigger. I mean, he's a huge guy, and he can run. He's frightening.
He very much is. I think the one thing that might be a little different is, and this isn't really, I think their playing styles are very similar. But though I think the one difference is Frank Reich's not going to call any design runs for Andrew. But there might be some design runs in the game plan. Might be for Deshaun.
I think Watson's going to run a lot tomorrow. This is my personal belief, and I'm not giving away any secrets here because I don't know. I mean, they're keeping that stuff under wraps. But I think Deshaun knows that. Look, if there's nothing available through the air, I'm taking off with it. It's the postseason. We got to score. We got to go. To your point about you got to get points. Let's go. All right, shout outs as we prepare for the playoffs. Sylvia in Victoria. Sylvia, great to have you watching Cooler Talk. Who else do we have here? Peter in Anderson, Indiana. Anderson, Indiana. That's not far from Muncie. Did you know that, where Ball State is?
Is he a Colts fan? Watch on the slide?
He might be. He might be.
Hopefully he's a Texans fan in enemy territory.
And, behind enemy lines. We have to come get him. We're coming. We're going to helicopter you out of Anderson, Peter. Darlene in Buffalo. Hi, Darlene. Kansas City, Missouri.
The whole city.
The whole city of Kansas.
City's watching.
Well, they want to know. They want to know who's going to win.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The winner of this eventually plays in the AFC Championship game. Now, actually, if the Colts win this, they go to Kansas City, right? Because they're the lowest remaining seed.
They would go to Kansas City.
They go to the top seed.
We win, we would go to New England. But
yeah, so we'll see how it all shakes out.
Worry about that afternoon Saturday.
It's the playoffs. I am so hyped. In case you're wondering how I'm feeling, I am so hyped for this thing. I mean, the adrenaline is flowing. I have not been able to sleep. This is phenomenal. It's monumental. This is why you're a sports fan. Enjoy the moment. Just savor the tension. It's so awesome, right?
It is. I had a dream about Quentin Nelson last night.
That sounds bad.
Okay.
Anyway, this is Arctic Cooler Talk. Thanks so much for watching. And Saturday, 3:35, Texans, Colts. Let's get it. Go Texans.